Hello and welcome to the Malika Writes channel. My name is Malika Writes and today we are going to be doing something a little bit different from the usual content. Today we're going to be looking at a song, and the reason why we're looking at this particular song is because I think that going in line with some of the feminine archetypes that we've been looking at, I think that this particular archetype will probably be of interest to some of you. I know that some of you are writing, and this might be something that you want to consider as you're writing, if you're writing female characters, to sort of look at their growth. And I think that this particular song captures this this archetype or this period in a girl's journey very well. So the song we're looking at today is I Am My Mother's Savage Daughter by Sarah Hester. And so I just wanted to kind of go through the lyrics so that you guys can sort of see where I'm getting my thoughts from. So the lyrics start like this. I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter. I will not cut my hair. I will not lower my voice. So that's the first verse, and already if you've watched some of my other videos on femininity, you can probably see where the archetypes are beginning to show through, where some of the things that I've discussed previously are beginning to show through. But for those who have not watched my other videos, there's something I always say, which is that the relationship between women and power is very peculiar. It's one where in a lot of literary works and also in a lot of sort of archetypal stories, what you get to see is this this sort of behavior where women covert power, and they almost covert the headship of men. So that's the relationship, that's the dynamic between women and power in a lot of literary works, and we begin to see that that sort of relationship to power, that sort of relationship to chaos here. And what separates this particular section or archetypal manifestation of femininity from the other ones that I've talked about is that this one concerns itself with the sort of Fae Woman. So the woman who is wild, who is trying to embody chaos, essentially. So we see this in characters like Dalma from Pirates of the Caribbean. Dalma is also the goddess Calypso, who is the literal sea. So we see that archetype in characters like this. And this song, especially this first part where it talks about the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones, that desire for freedom, but that freedom comes with a cost, because you have to, if you want to be free and run barefoot and not have to worry about shoes which are restrictive, you also have to kind of deal with sharp stones. But then you also get this this sort of lack of accountability in a way, which is cursing the sharp stones. Like, it's not really the stone's fault that you're running without shoes, but you get this dynamic where you have the desire for freedom, but almost the hatred of what that freedom comes with, the consequence of this sort of Fae freedom. Like, you get to be the wild woman running around, but then you also have to deal with the consequences of that. But then we also get like the stubbornness at the end of this, which is I will not cut my hair, I will not lower my voice. So even just in that first verse, we're really getting the sort of rebelliousness and resistance against any sort of rule, which is in essence what the wild woman, what the Fae Woman archetype kind of is. My mother's child is a savage. She looks for her omens in the colours of stones, in the faces of cats, in the falling of feathers, in the dancing of fire, in the curve of old bones. So this refers to magic, which is where the Fae element comes in. And magic is chaos. Magic is potential, and we know that throughout mythology and throughout the ages, in almost every literary work that you can come across, the feminine is represented by chaos. So you have the masculine that represents order and the feminine that represents chaos. And this is a brilliant example of that. The lyrics are very well written. I actually like the song for this reason, the fact that it's a very well written song, and it actually showcases that Fae Woman archetype extremely well. I am my mother's savage daughter, the one who runs barefoot, cursing sharp stones. I am my mother's savage daughter. I will not cut my hair. I will not lower my voice. Again, the persistence, the first verse coming back again as a sort of an answer or an encouraging call to the second verse, which is about magic and embodying the chaos. So when we talk about how this Fae woman essentially fits into the feminine journey, she is usually going to come on the cups of a woman transitioning from a girl to a woman. So that awkward section between innocence and maturity is usually where the Fae woman has her domain, where this Fae archetype begins to manifest, because this is where rules, restrictions are really felt by the female character, and where the freedom of innocence, the female character is beginning to lose that freedom. So there's this tension, and this is where the Fae woman archetype actually comes in. So what we see in this song is a rebellion against that coming maturity, that coming rule, and the restrictions that are coming onto this, basically this child that's becoming a woman. My mother's child dances in darkness. She sings heathen songs by the light of the moon, and watches the stars and renames the planets, and dreams she can reach them with a song and a broom. We see this a lot in stories that have witches. So the witches are basically just women without restriction, women without rules. And we see this in Greek mythology with the women following Dionysus and just having this unrestrained ecstasy and euphoria. I think they even kill Orpheus. No, it wasn't Orpheus that they killed. It was yeah, I think it was Orpheus that they killed during one of these Dionysian festivals. They killed a Greek hero because he interrupted their festival, he interrupted their joy. So that's the witch archetype, that's the Fae woman archetype. And one thing that's really curious about this archetype is that it's usually represented by a very beautiful woman, because if you think about that period that the Fae woman shows up, she's usually reaching the peak of her fertility, or entering that fertile period of her life, and still has that sort of youthful glow about her, if you can call it that. So usually this woman is presented as very joyful. There is actually a very pretty side to it. There's a very beautiful side to it if you think about it, because this is the archetype of freedom, of feminine freedom, and it's no wonder that it appeals to a lot of women. However, there needs to be a balance. You can't be a raving drunk in a Dionysus party and function in real life. So while this archetype does, for the female characters, supply them with their sort of youthful joy, that almost, that fae quality that makes them not quite usual. You see this a lot in movies where you have the female character that's just a little bit out of this world. I think the female character in The Bridge to Terabithia is sort of playing into this archetype of the otherworldly sort of girl, and this is what gives her, this archetype of the Fae Woman is what gives her that otherworldly feel. So it does have a place, and it's very important in the development of a girl or a female character. It's not something that you can take out and actually get a fully fledged person. If you watch my Galadriel video, I do talk about that that period of time where a girl is supposed to be rebellious. You have to have a conflict in order to have growth, and it doesn't necessarily have to be life-changing or destructive, but you do need to have some sort of opposition to order so that the order doesn't become tyrannical and it doesn't become stale. So this Fae Woman essentially is the opposition to the order, and she's kind of the inspiration of all things new. She's what roots the girl to her sort of primal feminine side, because she is the ultimate feminine representation in terms, if we were to look at femininity strictly in terms of chaos. So I think that not only does this song really portray this period very well, but I also think that it's a great song, so you should definitely go and listen to it. It's on my playlist, so I actually really like the song outside of looking at the lyrics as some kind of literary device. But I also think that for anyone who wants to write female characters, now bringing this sort of back to the real world and to you guys, anyone that wants to write female characters, it's very important to understand that you need to kind of make them multifaceted. You do need to include this part, especially if you're talking about, if you're considering having that female character around for a while. This Fae Woman section of her growth is very important. And even dealing with real life women, I think people need to realize that at a certain age, you can't expect a girl to be anything but in touch with her Fae side. Like, she's going to be going through that side where she's rebelling. That's very important in the feminine journey, because if that side has not been explored in youth, it will be explored in old age, and we all know that kind of looks a bit weird. It's like the granny who's forgotten that she's 75. So I think if we remember as a community, as individuals, that there is a season for everything, and that this season is important, then not only will you be able to write brilliant characters, but you'll also be able to sort of examine yourself if you're a woman, but also be able to understand the women in your life if you're a man. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you liked this and actually want me to look up more songs and talk about them, I actually would not mind, because I do think there are a number of brilliant songs out there with great lyrics that do actually just as well as books in explaining some of these things, because I do think that music has its own special way of doing things. It's another medium of storytelling, and the first sort of, if we look at how poetry was supposed to be read out, like the great epics that we know, they were sung in court, they were performed in front of people to music. So music and literature are intertwined, and if you liked this video and if you liked my little exploration of the lyrics, then I wouldn't mind doing it on this channel. But you guys let me know at the end of the day if this is something that you absolutely like, oh, I don't really like this. I'm not gonna do it again. But if you actually liked it, then yeah, I'll probably do something like this again. So let me know. Also, feel free to recommend any songs that you want me to look into. So thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you have a lovely day. This has been the Malika Writes channel.